There's an interesting thing about cancelled media projects. No matter what stage of production it was shut down in, some form of it typically lives on in projects that come after it. After all, it makes sense. These are still projects that have a lot of time put into them, and people don't want to see their hard work thrown in the trash. Jodorowsky's Dune is likely the most grand of these, a film that only exists in the concept stages, and it heavily influenced sci-fi projects over the 1980s and onwards. The toy industry, of course, is no exception. There is a constant stream of concepts that either make it into production or get tossed down the trash chute. So what exactly happens when a brand like Transformers has to scrap an entire brand lineup? Well, today, my friends, we're gonna find out. Doomers and Doomettes, I'm your host Didi, and today, courtesy of a commenter on my previous Transformer video requesting more Transformers content, we're going to be exploring the history of the cancelled series TransTech. Surprisingly, the other way bigger Transformer talk YouTubers haven't done videos on this yet, so let's capitalize on that for our own small channel gains, shall we? If this is something you're interested in, be sure to like the video, share, and if you're willing to, subscribe, as it helps me get more content out like this. And to all of you currently subscribed, I want to give you a huge thank you for getting us over 800 subscribers. We're going to hit that 1,000 mark very soon, and it couldn't be done without all of you. So, with that said, let's dive right in.
We now return to the Transformers.
Now, before we can go into what TransTech was, it's important to set the stage for this state of the brand prior to its conceptualization. It's the 1990s, and the Beast Wars line has recently finished and ended a very successful chapter in Transformers history, as Beast Wars arguably saved the franchise from proceeding on its way to oblivion, like so many other long-forgotten 80s brands. In 1999, this was followed up by a sequel series titled Beast Machines, where the heroic Maximals return to their homeworld, only to find it has been completely conquered by Megatron. Unlike its predecessor, Beast Machines received very mixed to negative reviews, primarily due to the severe character inconsistencies, contrived themes, and characters that didn't even transform. They just sort of morphed. Over time, some fans have warmed up to Beast Machines, and there's honestly quite a bit to go into there in regards to its own problems, so we'll save that for a future video. All that's relevant here is that Beast Machines undid a lot of the goodwill that came with Beast Wars, and as such, its final wave of figures were cancelled. So here's about where the TransTech line comes into the picture. At some point between 1999 and 2000, the next Transformer line was conceptualized as TransTech. To get the ball rolling, Hasbro had the Toronto-based studio Draxall Jump work on some conceptual designs. These designs intended to bring the franchise back to a lot of its roots: Autobots and Decepticons, familiar faces like Optimus Prime, Shockwave, Soundwave, and a return to vehicle alternate modes. But there was a catch. They were highly stylized and in a way that could only be described as early 2000s and almost abstract. Although many Generation 1 characters were present, they still lost a lot of design features that most people would associate with them. For example, Starscream lost his red, white, and blue color scheme for what appears to be a blue camo paint scheme, and losing his signature null ray cannons. Optimus Prime lost his chest windows in exchange for humongous arms and an arc reactor chest. Megatron is a very interesting case, as we have documentation of several design changes for him. A mock image where he appeared to look more like a Gundam than a Transformers character, and two Draxall Hall jump designs. One where he retains his fusion cannon on his right arm, and with a face that appears more like the Decepticon symbol, and then we have what appears to be the final design, a green tank with a turret hanging off the back. Don't worry, we'll come back to that. Alright, cards on the table. I didn't have a good place for this organically in the video, but I still wanted to show you guys this picture. This one appears to be a concept of the TransTech Soundwave, with speakers completely covering his body and blasting it to the max as if he were a noise marine. I doubt anyone who has this kind of pull at Hasbro is watching, but can you maybe revisit this design just a little bit?
Well, hang on, you've just...
No, I like it. This is brilliant, but I like this.
But let's get back to our story and talk about the TransTech story. Unfortunately, this is the area we know the least of due to the stage of cancellation, and we don't have a record of the plot. Bob Skier, one of the primary leads of Beast Machines, didn't even have an idea that the project existed at the time, but we can make an educated guess based on what's available. Considering that TransTech was going to have characters who appeared in Beast Machines, such as Cheetor, Nightscream, and Black Arachnia, in addition to the new designs, it's entirely possible that TransTech was going to be set on the new techno-organic version of Cybertron, with more fluid and less boxy looking designs. Even fan favorite Depth Charge was set to return despite being killed off in Beast Wars. But hey, that wouldn't be the first time a character randomly came back.
Somehow
Megatron
Return.
Now, the last thing we know about TransTech prior to its cancellation was the toy line. This info actually comes to us courtesy of Big Bad Toy Store in its infancy of all places. On December 6, 2000, Big Bad Toy Store posted some information about the then upcoming TransTech line, anticipating that they would be able to open pre-orders soon, with product available starting in June 2001. The known figures they listed were as follows: Deluxe Class Cheetor, Shockwave, Silverbolt, Starscream, and Rat Trap, and then we had an Ultra Class Optimus Prime and Megatron, an Unknown Deluxe, an unknown electronic figure, and 2 unknown mega figures were also listed. Of these figures, we regrettably only have images of 2 of them in the prototype stage, the Deluxe Class Cheetor and the Deluxe Class Starscream. So, if all of this was set up, what happened? Certainly seems like a lot of work was going into it, and Big Bad Toy Store seems to suggest that as of late 2000, the line was still considered a go. While the truth is a bit muddied by now, and maybe a little bit lost to time, there's a few factors at play. For some research, I went and read through a bit of Hasbro's annual reports from 1999 and 2000. Now, I don't want to bore you with the numbers because they can get a bit dry, but why don't I just tell you that Hasbro's year 2000 annual report opens up with a letter of apology to investors. I'll let you piece together the rest from there. That's weird. Hasbro's stock started to nosedive around mid-May in 1999. What happened in May that could have... Oh. There were, of course, other factors at play here, another being Hasbro relocating all operations to Rhode Island, so 1999 to 2000 seemed to be a difficult time, and as a result, some things like TransTech went to the cutting room floor. But that's not the end of the tale of TransTech. In 2002, Transformers relaunched with the anime series Transformers Armada, kicking off the Unicron trilogy, which features some familiar faces. Scavenger, a bulldozer character designed in TransTech with tread arms, makes an appearance in Transformers Armada. Although he features a slightly different design, several elements of TransTech are there. Megatron is another one who features a strong design reuse, with large treads on the shoulders, a green color scheme, and a turret placed on the back. Similar design elements from TransTech have continued to persist over the years, most notably Blur from Transformers Animated, who takes several design cues from Cheetor, and then there's Shockwave from the same series, who features an alternate mode not unlike TransTech Megatron's tank mode, and even Prime Soundwave seems to take some design elements from one of the head concepts in TransTech. In the Transformers Collectors Club, Cheetor even got a figure strongly reminiscent of his TransTech design, utilizing the Transformers animated Blur toy as a base. The Transformers Collector Club also resurrected TransTech from a fictional standpoint, utilizing them as overseers of the multiverse as far more highly developed versions of the Transformers. So now what? Well, I sadly wouldn't expect a TransTech revival anytime soon, even with the rumors that the upcoming toy line will have a multiverse theme to it. All the original prototypes were very likely destroyed, and we aren't going to be seeing them on eBay anytime soon. In addition, there hasn't really been much talk or demand for it. But despite that, I don't think it's necessarily something to mourn. While sure, it would have been interesting to see, its demise certainly paved way for a lot of other projects to come, and it clearly had its influence on several brand elements after that fact. Stuff like the Unicron trilogy wouldn't have happened if TransTech went on, which was a hard reboot of the franchise, so who knows what else would have been changed if a reboot didn't happen then. Just like you might ask, what about the timeline where TransTech wasn't cancelled? Someone out in the multiverse might be asking, what about the reality where we got Armada instead of TransTech?
What about the reality where Hitler cured cancer, Morty? The answer is don't think about it.
Hey guys, if you made it to the end, thank you so much for watching. What are your thoughts on TransTech? Would you have wanted to see it made, or are you glad it was canned? Let me know in the comments below. As always, if you enjoyed this video, I would really appreciate if you like it, share, or even subscribe, as it helps the algorithm to get this content out there even more. I really am grateful for all of your support, and super to see this channel grow the way it has. Of course, if you have any suggestions for future videos, let me know in the comments below. While this one was a bit research heavy, it was a lot of fun to make, so I'm definitely open to any suggestions for future content. That's all I have for this one. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope I can see you next time.